Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host and very good friend is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering Love Island UK Season 7, Episode 41. Chris, we're almost there. We can see the end is in sight. We've got one more full week, and then it finishes. Probably got a Sunday and a Monday episode. What did you make of all that drama tonight?
Well, I can't believe I'm going to say this, Dave, because we've been waiting the whole series for Jake to get his comeuppance. But by the end of it, I sort of had a bit of sympathy for him.
Yeah,
and the problem was, it starts off, they're talking together, him and Liberty, they go off. She thinks she's going to tell the girls and get this massive, oh, he said he loves you. And literally there was a fucking pin dropping.
Yeah.
But I find it difficult that I think Chloe was the only one out of all the girls through this whole episode who told us straight. As in, she didn't make it about herself. And I'm looking at you, fucking Faye, because she made it all about herself as usual. And I've just felt Chloe was right. But then in the same respect, there's something in the back of my head going, well, you're all a bunch of fucking snakes pretty much in there. There's not many people going to come out of this villa unscathed, are they? So I like the way they sort of stuck up for her. And I loved what Chloe did. But then I had a big problem with Faye because I'm like, you shouldn't even be in there. And the fucking producers have tolerated your ridiculous behavior. And now you, of all people, are giving out advice on relationships. And I'm just like, Faye, fuck off. I don't know how you feel about that, Dave, but I was dead comfortable with Chloe. But Faye, I was just like, no. And the way she wouldn't speak to her, and I'm just like, oh, here we go. I don't know what it is about Faye, but she can just turn it into the Faye show without even doing much.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure about that. I know with her walking off, I know people are saying, well, she's making it about her. But what could she do? I think now we know her, and she is that domineering personality. And I can't believe I think I'm going to semi-defend her after saying several times I'm done with her. And I still am done with her. But I think in that moment, by walking off, that was probably the least bad thing that she could do. Because she's not going to stay there and keep her gob shut. She's not going to sit there and go, oh, that's nice, isn't it? So I think by kind of taking herself out of that situation, I think that was the least of several bad options on offer. I agree with you, though, in that, who am I cheering for in this lot? And it's like, well, no one really. I got to say with Kaz as well, Kaz and Liberty's friendship, has been one of those great things about this season. But she's really kind of she's not saying what she actually thinks there. Chloe was the only one who was actually saying, in a constructive way, how did it happen? In fact, I know Kaz said later, well, did he say he loved you after, you'd laid the law down to him kind of thing? But Chloe seemed to be there front and center and basically saying, it does seem a little bit convenient, and she's only really saying what we were all thinking.
I agree.
Yeah. It's just the kind of when you see it, and this should be such a great moment for Liberty when she came down those stairs, when she gathered the girls. She was expecting, like you say, everyone to start squealing and be all happy for her and stuff, and inside she is bursting with happiness kind of thing. But it's just kind of painful to watch it unfold where she's Liberty saying, do you think I'm an idiot? And I don't think anyone said yes, but inside I'm sure they were. That by implication, that's the way they were acting. They were acting like he's pulling the wool over your eyes, and it's not truthful. That's how they were acting. They just didn't want to say it that way.
No, look, I agree. I do agree with that he had to be called out. And I agree that what Liberty said was bang on in the previous episode. And what Chloe said, she said, look, don't hate me, but don't hate me. But that's fine. as friends, you would do that. But I just find it, when I said in the last episode that I think Jake, sort of the stereotypical, blonde bimbo cliche, he sort of treats Liberty like that, not knowing that she does have, she's quite a clever girl. And I felt tonight the girls were talking to her like she was 5 years old. It's like nobody else in any of these other relationships in this fucking villa has been or had the support that they've given Liberty. One, because she's popular, and I agree with that, because I do think Jake's playing the game, and it was so convenient. Chloe's right. He said it because he had to say it, Dave. There is a side to it that was brought up on our Discord about maybe he's just not very good with, like emotions. Maybe he's been hurt previously. We've not looked at it from that, but from his actions point towards it's all a big game. It might not be. I mean, he walked out the villa, and I think you said it. It was like a little kid saying, "Right, I'm leaving home," and then they've got to the end of the garden, and you were right what you said. Looking back to see if the mum goes, "Oh my God, don't go," and the mum shut the door and locked the fucking key and stuff. But we have vacancies in the bedroom.
He didn't even make it to the end of the road, did he? He was just literally sat outside the door.
Exactly. And Toby's giving him the advice, and I think what Toby said was great, but I don't know what it is, Dave. I don't know whether it's just because it's a male perspective, but I just find the fact that I was all in for Jake getting his comeuppance, but all the people who were giving her the advice were also the people who were hypocrites. Now, for Faye, the one thing I say for Faye to flip it, Liberty got all this support, right, towards her, which is great. She's a popular person in the villa. Everyone loves her. She's a lovely girl. Faye didn't have this same luxury when it was her and Teddy. When she was being unreasonable and just being a downright bitch last week, nobody had the balls to speak up to Faye. And I think that's probably why I found it so wrong that all of a sudden everyone's got an opinion on Jake and Liberty's relationship, but none of the fucking girls had the bottle to tackle Faye. And that's probably, now I'm thinking about, that's probably why I was getting annoyed. Probably more, maybe it's not really at Faye. It's the fact that she hasn't got the friends that Liberty's got. And that's where I struggled watching this.
I think it's the power dynamic, though, isn't it? It's almost as if Faye is the adult of the group, of the girls. She's the matriarch, isn't she? And Liberty is almost like the child of the group.
Yep.
So that's why no one feels comfortable to call Faye out. Because when Millie eventually said something 3 days later or something, it was still a little bit with kid gloves, wasn't it? It was like, do you think that was maybe not quite the right thing? Whereas everyone feels very comfortable openly telling Liberty that Jake's probably full of shit. And I sort of agree, and we've been saying it for a long time now, that that Jake's actions seem to be more like someone who was playing a game. That's just from his actions. But now it seems to be popular opinion. I don't like it anymore. It's just, I'm leaving the door slightly open that he is just a bit crap with his words, and it's hard not to feel sorry for him, when he's being ganged up on by everyone, really. You say Toby what he said was good, and I kind of half agree with you. But when Toby's actually speaking, I can't figure out the sentences, what he's actually saying, But he was the one who took Jake to the side, and through the kind of word soup that he was throwing at Jake, you could kind of figure out, well, everyone's not that happy. And it's a bit convenient. So, fair play to Toby for actually saying that. But again, I think I'm getting suspicious now about how much positive stuff the producers are showing us of Toby and Chloe. I'm just thinking the producers are pushing them more and more to the forefront, because you didn't see that much of like Kaz and Tyler. You didn't see that much of Millie and Liam. So if Chloe and Toby get the plum date, then, they're definitely the producers' favourites, aren't they?
Yeah. And we said that coming up this week, didn't we? And obviously when Jake calmed down and he had a word with Liberty, didn't he? And look, I think what reason Toby got the praise was because he was sort of like not wanting to give up who'd said what. Obviously, it's pretty obvious it was going to be Faye. I don't think he suspected it was Chloe. And I think Toby did the right thing because, look, Dave, you know, and I know, if someone slates you and he's slagging off your relationship, you're going to want to know who it is. I do think he should have reassured Liberty. I do think Liberty should have been his first port of call. And that's been the issue with Jake. Liberty isn't his priority. It's always a second thought about how he's feeling. And, you know, oh, who said that? Like, you know, it's like, no, she's the one you need to reassure. Once you've reassured her, go and fucking speak to whoever you want and give them the aggro. Because I think naturally, as a person, if I know someone's slating me and they're within my vicinity, I'm going to have it out with him, Dave. And I'm sure you'd be the same. Like, you know, like, what's your problem? I don't necessarily think that was a bad thing, but I do like what Toby did. He was like, look, protect your relationship first, then deal with it. And he's not a fucking nuclear scientist, but he knew straight away it was Faye. But I love the fact that Chloe came over and said, look, I know what you're talking about. However, it then seemed like it was a tag team fucking partnership. And I kept thinking, and this maybe is because it's a bloke thinking, well, how would that be if two blokes were one of the girls? That wouldn't be received very well, Dave, would it? Because you sort of, if they were having a pop at her like that, there'd be something to say.
Yeah, but I mean, they weren't having a pop, were they? I thought I was impressed with Chloe there because she could have just sat back and watched from afar. And you know, despite the fact she was saying the most to Liberty, and she could have just let Faye, you know, deal with it. She's got plenty to say for herself, so she wouldn't have been short, would she? And you know, Jake would have. A form would dictate that would probably end up in a slanging match, wouldn't it?
Yes.
That's possibly why, in particular, Chloe's gone across there. But I thought that, you know, there's not many people there who would have gone and basically stepped into the lion's den, stepped into this conversation that could very, very easily become one of conflict. So, yeah, again, another plus point there. And I thought in that conversation as well, Jake I thought he did all right. He sort of listened. But what I kept thinking to myself, Chris, is, you know what? Even if you're in amongst this crowd of people, crowd of friends and stuff, and they think your relationship is bollocks, my reaction to it would be slightly different. Yeah, I kind of want to know.
Yeah.
You know, but I'd also think, you know what? Fuck the lot of you. Fuck the lot of you.
Yeah.
Liberty, let's fucking separate ourselves from this group. Fuck this lot, right? Me and you, let's just do our thing. And so, again, it wasn't a positive for me that Jake spent a lot of time and energy trying to do his Inspector Poirot and try and find out, well, who said what?
Yeah.
And again, it doesn't look good if you're trying to say, well, is he just trying to curry favor with everyone and keep on everyone's best side? Because, you know, if it comes down to an island boat again, you need to be thinking, well, I need to be everyone's best mate in here as well.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I meant. His energy was used in the wrong way. But at the end of the day, he took it on the chin. He said, right, okay, no problem. That's how you feel. You know, it was wrong. I did think it was weird, though, Faye saying, is that really how you wanted to tell her you loved her? What the fuck's it got to do with her, Dave?
Oh, she overstepped the mark there. Yeah,
I was just like, fuck off, Faye.
When she was like, you could not have told her in a worse time, you know, than tonight. And I'm like, yeah, you're out of line there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, say your piece, but that is just your opinion. And again, if I was Jake and Liberty, I'd be like, well, that is your opinion, and I don't give a fuck about it. Fuck off. That is between me and Liberty and all the people watching at home.
Exactly. And you know what, Dave? I asked Sam when we were watching it, and she actually agreed with the girls sticking up for Liberty. She said, I think it's the right thing to do, sticking up for a friend. And we didn't get a dust up day because obviously I'd lose that. And with it just being our recent anniversary, it wouldn't have been a good way to end our holiday. But no, I can get it. I honestly can see it from everyone's point of view. I just think it's more the character of Faye that I question with this. Great for sticking up for your friend. Everybody needs friends like Chloe and that. But Faye, nah, not for me. However, Dave, if you were going to go, let's lighten the mood because we do get this fucking dating thing, don't we? We get dating. Liam doesn't know what an aphrodisiac is. God fucking help him, and he needed fucking Millie to explain what it was. But
fucking hell, second most intelligent group on the or couple on the island, Chris. Fuck me.
But Dave, if you were thinking, you're a good lady, and you're thinking, I want a fucking perfect date, I want a bit of sexy time. Would you suggest going for a run, Dave, like Brett did? Because I thought
a knob. What a fucking knob. Right. Perfect day. Yeah, go for a run. Fuck off.
Yeah. It's just like, what are you doing? He was talking about, I've got cappuccino, coffee, ice cream for you, freezer. But Dave, I'm sorry, I'm off the Priya train. They've got to go. I don't like Priya at all. I think she's just stuck up her own arse, I think. Now, the one I've seen of her, and she should have picked Matt, and it's her own fault why she's in this situation. I'd see zero chemistry between her and Brett. I'm not saying there's sort of a lot between her and Matt. There was something that you said it in the episode about she wanted to rip his clothes off, which she did. I'm not seeing anything between these two. And when she was talking to the girls, she's got the ick, hasn't she? They were like, well, would you go on a date with me in this situation? No. Well, Priya, I'm sorry. You are going to be voted off, I think, Dave, in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, the pair of them just stick out. I think it's just not really the usual Love Island candidates, because she was saying literally earlier in the day, she was going on about, oh yeah, we did have a kiss, and we had tongues as well, and it was like, fuck me, you fucking at school or something. It was really bizarre, that conversation. But then, I mean, I've not liked Priya for a few days, to be honest. I do think she thinks she's better than everyone in there. She does give off that kind of Tory vibe to me. But the thing is, I couldn't disagree with her when she was saying about how boring he was. Anyone who wants to go on a run for a first date, Chris, there are lots of things that would be a crap first date. Things like, going to the cinema is one, isn't it? That seems like okay for a first date. But then you're thinking, well, you're sort of watching the movie, aren't you? You're not talking, you're not engaging with the person, you're not getting to know them or anything. So it's a bit shit, really. But it's not as shit as going for a run where you're all fucking sweaty and like, how's it going? Yeah. Oh, what are you into? Oh, yeah, I like watching Netflix. Fucking, yeah. I couldn't really disagree with her. But she basically said, like she said he gives her the ick now. So, and she didn't see that fucking vote coming, did she? What a time to say it. And again, I almost appreciate her for saying that, and being honest about it, when you're thinking, well, they all know this is a game now. There's none of this like, am I here for the right reasons kind of thing. So, she said it, she shot herself in the foot. Basically, I think I'm pretty sure everyone voted for them. The only vote they didn't get was themselves, which was a bit, I wonder if Priya was thinking, well, it's probably me and you in it, but I can't say that.
Yeah, true. But I don't think the way they dealt with it, I don't know. It's just weird episode tonight, Dave, because we had all the Jake situation. Then you got this stupid meal thing, which was funny because Sam was going, they've all got white shirts on, the guys. And I'm like, oh, someone's getting spaghetti bolognese down the front of their jacket. So, look, I mean, what did you think at the end of it? Because what they did was very clever. They got them all together and said, you're not allowed to speak to other couples. You have to pick your least compatible couples, Dave. So what did you think of that and the ones who got picked? Because I thought that was a good way of weeding it out without that intervention for the change.
Well, I hope so. Not just the intervention, but it's gone to public vote. I just hope that it doesn't become this like, oh, now here's the bottom two couples. The Islanders get to choose who is the, who are the people to boot off. So, yeah, let's see tomorrow night. The one really interesting bit to it, I thought, was Chloe and Toby. Now, we've talked about in the past that Chloe's a little bit older than Toby, but she's definitely more mature than him. And she definitely wears the trousers, doesn't she? Because Chloe's basically put forward Jake and Liberty, and it's on the back of all this stuff. I love you and all this sort of crap. Toby was not happy, and he does, like I said before, he was the one person sort of making sure he was there for Jake when he was having his little temper tantrum and spitting his dummy out. But he went with it, so rather than, I don't know, picking someone, throwing out someone else out there, let's say Aaron and Mary, well, they're still a pretty new couple. Seems like a victimless crime for Toby to just say, oh, well, them, he doesn't have that much of a personal connection with them. He's let Chloe dictate that, they're going to put forward Jake and Liberty. So I thought, if anything, that's a slight little red flag for me about how easily Toby was able to be convinced that he did something he really didn't want to do there.
That's very true that day. But also, could you not flip it and say that Chloe may be doing it for the win, Dave?
Well, yeah, it did occur. Yeah, you're right. I sort of half forgotten about that, but it did occur to me at the time. I thought, this would be quite a good tactical way to at least make sure you're in the final two. You've still got Millie and Liam there. After the whole Casa Amor thing, they're looking quite strong. And I think whenever I question myself about Jake and Liberty, I kind of look at Liam and Millie, and I think it doesn't matter what, little set pieces, what side conversations they have. You can just see bursting out the screen what this chemistry is. Whereas Jake and Liberty, you just don't see that. But yeah, Chloe, it would be a good way to remove those chess pieces from the board, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would, to be fair, Dave. It would. And look, it'll be interesting tomorrow because, we're left on the cliffhanger and now it's down to the public vote, Dave. So one way or the other, someone's going to go. I think it's going to be Priya and Brett. I really, really do. But at the end of the day, there could be a shot. I mean, Faye and Teddy are there, Dave, as well. Yeah, I mean, they got a few votes. Yeah. So that's what gets me. These people in the villa not thinking they're compatible, but they're not really speaking up about it. But yet they're in the bottom three.
They didn't.
No, but I'm saying though. You've got Faye there doing a fucking, Mother Teresa bit and going around trying to save everybody. But there's obviously even with Teddy, they're like, well, they obviously think that Teddy's too good for it, but they haven't got the bottle to say it. So it's interesting.
I'm not sure if it's a case of being too good for it. I think it's more after that whole blowout, you could see that they've just got very, very different personalities. And I said at the time, maybe she needs someone more like Sam, maybe someone who is a bit more gobby, a bit more loud, and will put her in her place a little bit. Whereas Teddy's not going to be that person. So I'm not that surprised they got a few votes.
It's interesting, though, Dave. So, Dave, we've got some emails, my friend. We've got one from our good friend Charlie, and this is in relation to some of the earlier stuff. And he's put earlier seasons of Love Island. But hello, Chris and Dave. What's your sense of how Love Island has changed from season to season? In what ways do you think it's better or worse? I just got into Love Island this year and decided to go back and watch season 3 after several online recommendations. Seeing everyone smoking was a bit weird, but overall, I really enjoyed it. Several public votes involved the least popular person or couple being dumped without the ability for the contestants to save them. In my opinion, this was a more interesting way of voting this present season. When Jake was in the bottom 3 several episodes ago, there was no way you would have been booted, but it may have been a different story using season 3 rules that really would have shaken things up. Based on several interviews I've seen, including Amber Davis, Amber was the one who won it with Kem Dave. They were together at the end of it. Nobody anticipated the huge uptick in their social media after season 3 ended. This supported my general feeling that the contestants and their relationships in season 3 seem more genuine than now. After thinking she'd be dumped very early, I became a huge fan of Camilla Furlow. It's quite appropriate, that, Dave. Furlow. It's not spelt like, as we know, Furlow. She didn't seem to fit the mould of a Love Island contestant, and I was captivated with her vulnerability and honesty. I was happy to read she's still with Jamie and continues to do humanitarian work. Thank you very much for the podcast. Looking forward to hearing your views on the older seasons versus the new. So I think maybe it might be for me to answer this one, Dave.
I think so.
So I would say that around season 2 and 3, UK peaked for me. They were absolutely brilliant seasons. Season 3, they were definitely more aware of the potential career coming out of it, but there was still that normalness to a lot of the people in there. And then from season 4 onwards, I do think we've lost stuff there because everyone is aware of the longer they stay in, the longer they can party on the outside. So that's where things have changed. And I also agree with the voting and things like that. The producers have completely stepped in. When it was the earlier seasons, it was sort of like fend for yourself, like the Islanders decided more than ever. And the public, then you have the public vote. But this time, it seems to be the Islanders can just... It's manipulated in a way to keep everyone together. Give Jake a bit of a kick on the arse, but we knew he was never going to leave. So no, I think Charlie's, it's a great point. And I know you've never seen it, Dave, but at some point, just for not for necessarily even review it, but just for you to see the comparison, I think you'd be quite surprised.
Yeah, I think what I'll do at some point is I'll work backwards. So season 5 was my first, and I'll go to season 4 and then season 3. I had tried to jump in at season 1. But it was quite bad, to be honest. It was pretty. Just that first episode was so ridiculous. Like when Caroline Flack was walking down, all the boys are like fucking wolf whistling and like, "Oh, is this the first one?" Like, and it's fucking quite bad, really, to be quite honest. So I'm going to work backwards, and then I've got the option to stop then.
Exactly. No. It's interesting, though, Dave. And we've had a good first email from my good friend Elizabeth from the USA. Hello from the United States. My friend found your guys' podcast a few weeks back, and we've been hooked on it ever since. There is a delay on the episodes are released in the US, so we're about 2 weeks behind what's happening in real time. However, my friend and I still race your podcast daily after we watch each episode to hear your hilarious, and always spot on takes. If you read this on air, which we are, please say hello to Maddie from Lizzie. So looking forward to continuing listening to you guys throughout the rest of the series, especially during the dreaded baby challenge. All the best, Elizabeth. So really good email there, Dave.
Oh, the baby challenge. It's coming. It's coming, Chris.
Don't. It'll probably be fucking tomorrow. So we've had a couple of emails from Kayla. I've seen this fucking picture going around, but it's Jake dressed as Hugh Jackman, the Greatest Showman. You've got Faye and Liberty and fucking Millie all around on the picture. It's brilliant. If you get a chance, have a look on Twitter, guys. So she's put best couple of the episode. This was from a couple of episodes ago. Liberty and Kaz. Did anyone else catch them kissing on the lips and holding hands? I'd prefer to toss the 50k to them at this point. I can't believe Jake never said he loved Liberty back in the 4 weeks since she had. I was so proud of Liberty for having a serious talk with Jake, but she's been manipulated, so I knew that he would weasel out of actually being honest with her. And I totally forgot Liberty's only 21. She was sitting there giggling and stalling, trying to think of something he likes about her. Oh, sorry, he was sitting there giggling and stalling, trying to think of something to like about her. Then he's ready to say he loves her. He's so phony. I'm glad the girls are saying that they don't feel he's being genuine. I feel like most of these people don't critically think about any decisions they make. So I'm glad she's getting other opinions on having to take time to figure out if she's happy in this relationship. Anytime I see comments saying that people are too hard on Jake, it's such bullshit. The boys were throwing him a pity party, saying that it's Liberty's overthinking and they feel bad for Jake. Jake has never once told Liberty why he likes her or why he's happy with her. He tells her to be honest with him, and then she does. He just overtakes the conversation, tells her she's wrong because she's his girlfriend. I just hope we get a Twitter challenge to put the nail in the coffin. So great email, Dave.
Yeah. I think the most romantic thing Jake says about Liberty is that she's like him with a wig on.
Well, if he was a lollipop, Dave, he'd lick himself. So I don't know. That's a good
thing. What else? I think that's about it, isn't it? He trots out the "you're my girlfriend," very frequently, but never actually says what he likes about her. So
it's a weird one.
Let's see.
Last email, Dave, and this was from Kayla, and it's Jake the Snake and Priya the Diva. I laughed so hard at Priya sending herself home after that conversation with the girls. I was understanding her feelings towards the date after hearing that boring conversation from Brett, but Mary was right to call her out on the diva behaviour. Well, we tried, Liberty. Jake was scrambling after Toby filled him in. Jake admitted to Faye and Chloe that he doesn't spend a lot of time with Liberty, doesn't compliment her, never said he loved her, and never reassured her when she brought up issues she had in the relationship. Sadly, Jake was more honest, vulnerable, and transparent with Faye and Chloe than with Liberty, which is true. I can't believe Toby had to point out to Jake that he needed to focus on his relationship issues and not what others are saying. A consistent behavior with Jake is him being caught saying or doing something that hurts Liberty's feelings and then only focusing on how upset he is with the situation. He never pulls Liberty to check on her or address her feelings. I'm calling it now. Jake and Liberty will likely come in second place and split up within 2 months after the show ending. I also think Chloe and Toby raised their chances of winning tonight. Toby trying to help Jake while Chloe was talking straight to Liberty was very entertaining. At this point, it just depends on which couple is more liked than Millie because she's got this in the bag right now. It's from Kayla. Great email.
It's a great point about Toby as well. I was saying, his talk to Jake wasn't that great for me at the start, but I thought it was gold when he actually said to him, when Jake he'd had his bit of a hissy fit, he'd calmed down, he'd come back. He just wanted to know who'd said what. And Toby, was put in a pretty difficult position, but said, I'm not gonna tell you that. And I think it's not the biggest issue right now. Basically, the thing is with you and Liberty, that was gold, to be fair. Yeah, it was, to be fair. So great emails, guys. Big thank you to everyone who supports us. Patreon.com/CD RealityCast if you want to support us. At CD RealityCast on social media. And if you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. So big thank you as always. Roll call of honor, Dave. So we've got Lucy, Shern, Helen, Abby, Charlie, Brianna, Chloe, Neve, Jacqueline, Noreen, Claire, Amy, Zoe, Joanna, Helen, Libby, Katie, Dee Dee, Hannah, Ed, Priscilla, Susan, Hennessy, Haley, Tracy, Lauren, Lucky Lily Green, and Kent Gustafson. So thank you so much, guys. And that list is getting more and more expansive. So Dave, we're going into the final week. Thank you, mate. I know it's been a slog for us both, but we're getting there. So really, really good time. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, mate. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.
Bye.